Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie-Lee. I'm the operating principal of Keller Williams Advantage and Keller Williams Experience Realty Brokerages, located in Barrie, Ontario, and Toronto in the Leslieville Beaches area. I'm currently running both of these brokerages, and we have a combined employee and agent count of just around 300 people that I'm managing. I was with Student Works Painting for probably around 4 and a bit years. And then life took a turn and I met my husband while traveling. Um, Basically, before I joined Student Works, I was 17, young, free spirited, loving life. I always had a bit of a sense of leadership in me, but I didn't see it at that point. I would do things like run the cheerleading team at my school or get involved in leadership positions that I didn't recognize for. And I was always looking for something a bit less textbook in my life. I wanted a real experience as opposed to just sitting in a classroom and then going to an hourly job in the summer. Before I joined Student Works, my reservation, I would say, in that decision was I was only 17. I'm born in December, and I was a young student at Western, and I was trying to figure out how am I going to get back to Aurora from London, Ontario every weekend while doing school to get this business launched. I mean, I'd never run a business before, but I knew I could do it, and that was probably my only reservation. While working with Student Works, I learned so much. I mean, every year I learned more, but I think one of the biggest things that sticks in my mind is the habits that I formed. Waking up early, running a business, watching my numbers. The day-to-day business would be lead generating. So, I mean, we door knocked to get our business back in the day. And we still do that here now that I'm involved in real estate, but some form of lead generating. And that habit has stuck with me, always trying to focus on what is it that I need to do every single day that's going to help the business thrive. I learned budgeting. I mean, we were having to watch our net profit and make sure that these painting jobs made sense. And I still do that today. And then setting a schedule and sticking to it. So making sure that you know what's going to happen the week in advance and making sure that what is in your schedule actually happens. I'm still a scheduler. I highlight things, and I find if it's not in my schedule, it doesn't exist. So that has been a huge habit. And then the other piece I would say I learned is always to have fun with things. I mean, even when we grow up, it's still good to have fun outside of work and even with your work colleagues. So the boat cruise that we used to have with Chris and the leadership events and getting together as a group and building culture is something that's come with me into my current role. 3 places that Student Works has helped and benefited me. Holy, I think one of the places was actually when I went to Switzerland and did my MBA. Having that real entrepreneurial service style business experience helped me have a real life conversation with a lot of international business leaders. I did my MBA. It was an intensive 1.5 years in Switzerland, international leadership in the services industry. And we got the opportunity to be rewrite Kempinski hotels, with one of the largest luxury hotel chains in Europe, study their middle management and rewrite their training. And me and my 2 people that worked on that for the entire year actually won the International Leadership Award with Kempinski Hotels, and they wanted me to move to Geneva and help them after that experience. And I think not having had the real life business experience Student Works brought to the table at the age of 17, all of the stuff I learned in my MBA when I did open the textbook back up would have kind of been fluff. I wouldn't have had the real customer service experience to actually go in and talk to some business leaders that run hotels across Europe and the Middle East on the level that I did. And so that was one of the ways. The second would be I think the monthly accountability on the budgeting is huge. I mean, that alone is something you do not learn in school anymore. I don't know if they ever taught that in school. And it's something so important. I mean, we work to provide for ourselves and our families and hopefully give back. That's my one of my greatest joys. And I think that if you aren't budgeting, there's no point in busting your butt to have a profitable business is what makes all of the work and sacrifice of your time make sense so that you can have a great life and give back and have some time off, which is much needed. And I think the third piece is the culture that Student Works brought, networking a bunch of business leaders that don't know that they're business leaders yet together and creating this network across Ontario and at the time the US of people of a like mind that are excited about business and excited about being an entrepreneur together is such a phenomenal networking opportunity. And now I get to do that today with Keller Williams, which is an international company. And the things I learned on how to get along with people and learn from them and grow with them is something I wouldn't have been able to do in the university classroom or a job at the superstore. I mean, it was just not even comparable what I was able to take away and learn from Student Works. What would I tell my best friend and kids about applying? I mean, honestly, I think people need to do what they're passionate about. I think people should do what feels good and what feels right and not what other people tell them to do. So I was an entrepreneurial person. I naturally clicked in that environment. My brother, who's a phenomenal videographer and will stay up for 24 hours or longer straight to edit a movie, Student Works was not for him. But for me and several other people that I brought in when I was a DM, it made us thrive. So I think if you naturally feel like you've got that leader in you and you're an entrepreneur and you love businesses and you want to go in that direction, for sure. I mean, if either of my kids had the opportunity to do what I did when I was 17 and they were passionate about it, 100% go for it. You won't regret it. And I think once you commit, do it with all your heart. Like, what you reap, you sow, and you want to make sure that when you are engaged in something, you're putting your all in. And that's where I speak from loving something and doing something out of a passion and being committed to the process, because I saw people who aren't, and it goes the other way. And you want to make sure you're making that decision for yourself, and it will better your life and your future. And I think that's it. Other than the experience was amazing. I met a lot of great people. I learned so many things that I wouldn't have been able to learn in school, even in my MBA. I went to school for a long time, and I learned in 4 years real life business, relationships, customer service, budgeting, recruiting. I mean, I couldn't have paid for that education elsewhere. So thank you, Chris. Thank you, Student Works.